You're listening to the Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May.
All right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Practical Wealth Show. So I'm excited. I have Travis Smith, and let me tell you a little about Travis before I bring him on. Travis is the founder and CEO of Tribevest. He started his career with Morgan Stanley, but realized the most direct path to true wealth and financial freedom is in the private markets. He is now a partner in several investor groups he calls tribes, and that invest in SFRs, single-family rentals, multifamily, and commercial real estate. However, his favorite investor group is the one that enabled him to own vacation homes and even a racehorse with his brothers. Now his obsession is to level the playing field, and he knows firsthand that forming investor groups is the great equalizer. As a result, he's built Tribevest, an online platform where people can assemble their tribe, align, form, and operate their own investor group. Travis, that sounds fascinating. Travis, tell him what I didn't tell him. That's fascinating.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And so, Tribevest is a platform. It's a collaboration and banking platform designed specifically for real estate investor groups. And we're the only one out there of that kind. Mm-hmm. And if you've ever had the trouble of coming up with enough capital to break into some type of private investment, for my brothers and I, it was real estate. We wanted to break into real estate. And as we all know, it requires capital, and it was capital that we didn't have. We had good jobs and good income, but we just didn't have the lump sums of money. And we knew intuitively that together we should be able to figure this out. And on a fishing trip 12 years ago, actually during the last financial crisis and Great Recession, we said, listen, let's stop talking about real estate deals and let's overcome the problem and obstacle right in front of us, that lack of capital. And on that trip, we set up a manageable and monthly contribution of $500 each a month. So that was 500 times 4 of us was $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. And, one investment led to another. And now we look back at our multi-million-dollar investment portfolio, and we realize that by forming and funding that small group, that investor tribe, that we unlocked a future we could have never dreamed of. And that's when people started saying, wait a minute, how are you doing? How are you investing in all these things? And, okay, I have a tribe, we have shared dreams, we have shared goals. Can you help us form an investor tribe? And that was about 4 years ago when we set off on this mission to create what is now the Tribevest platform.
I see the inspiration for that. And so you just said that, and so whose ears should be perking up right now? I've got a family, and we've got an investor club, but we've always tried to buy real estate together. Your platform does what for them?
Yeah, a lot of people's ears should be perking up right now. It's hard to find anybody that hasn't had this conversation. Mm-hmm. We should buy that. We should get into that together. And it happens around the dinner table, around the holidays. It happens at happy hour. Everybody's had that conversation. But the challenge is where to start, right? And now there's an app that you can actually say, wait a minute. Okay, hey, if we should really go and buy that property down the street together. I'm going to invite you to Tribevest, and we're going to qualify if, in fact, we should form a partnership, and if we should pull capital, and if we should get an operating agreement and an LLC and open up a business bank account and make this transaction together. So anybody that's ever had that conversation should be their ears.
Yeah, you because sometimes I feel people don't vet people out, even their family members enough. And it's not formal enough. Is that kind of what you help them? If this is a good fit, here's what we're trying to do. then your platform kind of helps them pull all those pieces together. Is that what I'm hearing?
Absolutely. So there's before Tribevest, there were kind of two ways that groups formed.
Mm-hmm.
One is how the wealthy do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With all the resources and network and attorneys in their circles and plenty of money to pay those attorneys to be a neutral third party for all the partners, right? And so they're putting together very strategic and very smart partnerships and businesses. And then there's the rest of us, right? We don't have attorneys at the ready and in our circle. And are we really willing to pay 5-10 grand just to explore something? And so, the rest of us without Tribevest, we just get into these partnerships with our friends, our family, and we don't go through all the what ifs, the how much, the how longs, and then what's. And people ask me, what would you have done differently? And that basically is what has become the Tribevest platform, is what we would have done differently. Yeah. The truth is, that's how we went. We signed something on a napkin, and we said, we're brothers, we're too tight, we'll never be challenged by the business, right? And that can be further from the truth. In fact, that's exactly the reason why you need to be forming these partnerships correctly. So, yeah, and now with Tribevest, all of us have that neutral third party and a best practices of how to qualify your match. And we're just as proud of the groups that don't go on to form and fund and invest together because they never should have, right? And we helped with that. That's like so important.
That's a good thing right there.
Yeah, no doubt. Maybe we're more proud of those, right? Maybe we're more proud of those. Although we love the stories that come with the groups that end up doing it and conquering dreams that they thought.
So are those people finding their own deals? Do you help with that, or how does that? I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or not.
No, that's usually the first question, right? And so the answer is no. We don't help them find deals. We are very focused, and we own our little niche in this market, right? And that's why they're Curtis, they have you in their tribe, right, or in their network, right? And other people, but where our role is just to make sure that they're putting their relationship first. More important than the deal, right? More important than the deal, more important than the return on investment are those relationships. And anybody that's been in business long enough knows that, right? And so who's protecting those relationships? Well, that's where Tribevest comes in. And then where the deals come from is up to our tribes. A lot of them come with their deals. A lot of them are working with their network to find deals.
That's interesting. So now let's talk about the future. And tell me if this is jumping ahead too far. One of the things that we talked about before we started recording was the future of business ownership, owning 5 businesses at a time. And so your group actually does all of that, right? Which in terms of different types of investing.
Yeah. And let me just kind of frame it like this.
Okay.
And let me know if this sounds true to you. Okay. But my parents had one job throughout their career, right? And Curtis, you and I we had a chance to talk in the green room here before this, and sounds like we probably had 6 jobs throughout our lives, right? Maybe.
Yeah, well, it's weird. So I've had jobs, but I actually never got that. I have a weird background because my family was my father was self-employed, my dad was self-employed, so I never got that go get a good job talk. Yeah. And so I got in the financial industry in college, got my licenses, but I wasn't any good, so I had to do other stuff to keep the business open. So I've had jobs, but I don't think I've had a job since 1985, longer than like 10 months, 12 months, maybe tops. Yeah. So maybe 5 or 6 of those, but no one longer than like 12, 13 months. So,
growing up in an entrepreneurial household, you're way ahead of the rest of us, right? but my parents, they had one job throughout their career. I will have had 5 or 6, and this next generation is going to have 5 or 6 at a time.
Yes.
Now that sounds terrible at first, right? It sounds terrible because I think about working 2, 3 jobs in college when I hear about multiple jobs at a time, but it's not. It's actually awesome. And it's all enabled by technology.
Yep.
And today we can have literally 5, 6 businesses, AKA multiple streams of income that provide us financial freedom and security. So I might have my main job, right, being the CEO and founder of Tribevest,
right?
But I have 3 other tribes that are also jobs, and there's 4 right there, right? And the beauty of an investor tribe is it's for side hustling.
Right.
It's not your main gig, but it is a business. It is business.
So you call the side hustling gigs, that's what you mean by 5 jobs? So we're talking about the same thing, or like, that's not what I think of when I think of jobs, but I think I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. And there's a play on words there that of course is intentional,
right? But
yeah, absolutely. So the only way you can, not break the math equation of having 5, 6 jobs at a time is if, 4 or 5 of those are side hustles.
Well, I think that's brilliant. Like, the millennials need to hear this because, they think too linear. Most people think too linear.
Yeah.
And you can because one of the things, to your point, security is the ability to produce, right? And so if you only have a job, in my mind, that's very risky. That's like you are a consultant, you only have one client, right? And you can get fired, and then now your business. I have a client that had a big client who was a consultant, and then somebody didn't like her because she was finding out numbers that somebody in the company didn't want, and they alienated her against him and got fired. She lost like a $100,000 a year contract, and that was the only one she had. And
think about that.
Risky. Huh?
Think about that. Having one source of income. I mean, we've all been there. Maybe you haven't been there, but we've all been there.
That scares me.
It's so acceptable. Like, that's what society says is go get one job. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Right.
And then on the other hand, think about what kind of freedom comes with multiple incomes like that, right? And if one of them goes away, it's cool. That's just more time to go get another one. I mean, it's not that easy, right? It's still scary, but you're in a way better position if you've gone out there and strategically, you do have your day job.
Talk about living with that. Like it's scary, but not, right? So it's not, I don't view it as scary because once you know that you are competent, you can make stuff happen, the fear goes down. How would you find that you and your tribes or in your family have discovered that where you've got 4 or 5 things going is actually more secure and you can replace that? But initially it might be a little scary. How did you mentally get yourself to the point where you could think that way or do that way and operate?
Absolutely. It's so funny how, depending on what mindset or where I was, through this journey, where the idea of starting a partnership in business, an investor group sounded risky and scary to me. And now I look back, I'm like, the scariest thing would have been not doing it. But, to your point, I think, it really speaks to, what you teach and your methodology is it's you can take all the assets away from my brothers and I and our investor group, and we're still wealthy. We're still free because we've gone out and learned those repertoires. We've learned those intelligences. We could go do it all again. And that's where the real freedom comes from is once you've figured that out. It's nice to have those assets and everything else and to see a balance sheet and, everything else that feels great. But again, you can take that all away. And as long as I've learned how to do these things and I've built up my network, right, I can do this all again.
Do you all, and do you find that your tribes have maybe have book studies or have regular meetups to review the numbers and analyze their investments, and what does that do for them? I'm thinking they would.
No doubt. It's a lot of this is social too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
These are people that they know, like, and trust, and quite often they're people that they want to do more things with. They want to do more really, really cool things with. And what's more cool than launching a business and making a good deal on a real estate opportunity? And so there's this social aspect of it. So there's this wanting to get together anyway. And then there's the real practical side of that. Of course, as a tribe, you can accumulate capital faster. Your network is multiplied by the number of people in your tribe. Your risk is, divided by the number of people. You spread that risk across the number of people in your tribe. And then there's the real power of this decision making together. The truth is, if there's 5 of us that are all looking at the same deal from different angles, and we're all nodding our head yes, that this is a good deal, Curtis, it's a good deal. Like,
okay. Yeah.
You can't think of so anyway, to answer your question, absolutely. There's a little bit of this. I want to learn with you guys, and then the decision-making process and going through that as a proposal and meeting on a regular basis is a big part of what our tribes love about investment groups.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I was listening to something with Kiyosaki, and they have, Kim McElroy, they have all the rich dad advisors meet and talk all the time or are studying books together. And, when you study like the Rockefellers or, these groups there, or Rothschild, they have like a system, but they have it from a family offices, but they have a system of family governance where everybody's learning, everybody's building wealth. And so if you can, I tend to find where I want people to, make sure they are, and it sounds like y'all, your brothers, you had that, everybody has like a strong, where they're coming from financially, they're solid. And then you got the money to contribute to invest, so to speak. But you got to have I find if I was doing this, I would make sure that you got your foundation, you got savings, you got liquidity, you're properly insured, you're keeping your, good budget. And now, boom, now you can focus on what I call velocity, right? Which is putting money into stuff in the hopes to generate cash flow. And so I'm going through my mind going, okay, I have like these 5 principles of personal finance. So it's like, I'm listening going, all right, yeah, this is principle 5, create velocity. But I like it because I saw something on the website where they can start as little as, well, you said as little as $500 a month or something like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Think about that. But to your point, yeah, this isn't the place you start, but it's pretty close. I mean, you do want to have that foundation, and you want to have, a sturdy, steady income. You want to be in a position where you do have some extra cash to put into things. But there's a big gap between I have $25,000 to put in, and hey, I could do $500 a month. And that's where we come in. We say, hey, if you can find 5 of you that can put in $500 a month, and that's not a big deal to them, by the end, you're going to have $36,000 at the end of the year. And that's substantial amount of capital to get you started in real estate. So that's not the only way our investor groups do it, but it's a nice little option that, hey, I don't have lump sums of money. Can we set a 12-month goal or a 6-month goal? And so at the end here, we all have $30,000 to put into something.
So they're putting so the types of things they are like real estate. So single families that I guess they could buy into if they found one, a multifamily, or did I see something on the site about like businesses, startups that they're investing in?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 85% of our investor groups are doing real estate, any type of real estate deal.
Right.
Single families are really popular. Vacation homes are really popular, as you can imagine, with families coming together. And then I'd say about 15% are, doing other private investments and even doing franchises and other types of business ventures together.
That's interesting. Tell me about what you see going on in that space with the business owners. If you've got many of those, that's we can kind of flow through some of them. I'm just trying to give them an example of stuff because, one of the things, the fastest path to cash is a business. So if you can get a business, you can generate more revenue. So if you've got 4 people, you can get more money out of that, but you've got, money spread out. So you spread the risk out, but you can generate a little more. If once you find the right thing and you vet it out, because business is also the hardest one to start too. So if you're going to start one, or you're investing in somebody else's one, that kind of stuff. I like, because once you pool it, then you've got to figure out where are we going to deploy this capital.
That's exactly right. And real estate, of course, is, beautiful, right? And
that's all Berkshire Hathaway is.
And right? Familiar, right?
Yeah.
But as you know, like a business is about as good as it gets when it comes to building wealth with the right business. And so, our investor groups are either investing in other people's businesses, or they're finding something a little more turnkey, right? And a franchise is a nice way. When you think about it, like one of the big benefits of a investor group is this being able to get over the capital barrier faster.
Right.
And so if there's a franchise that's, $50,000 or $100,000 just to enter, coming together with a group to do that makes it a lot more obtainable.
Right. Yeah, I really like the idea for that. And we're buying other like I've had a couple of interviews where I've interviewed 2 other people. I guess someone else wants to come on soon on either growing through acquisition, through buying other businesses, or franchising. I have a couple people we just talked about, buying businesses, selling business, and franchising. And so let's say you want to do that, it's just a matter of getting money, doing your research, figuring out stuff that you like or y'all like collectively, and then just do that and, wash, rinse, and repeat, and just keep. That's all. It seems like that's all that. What does Warren Buffett do? He got investors. They buy. Berkshire Hathaway buys companies that throw off cash flow. They keep the cash, and they're always looking for ways to keep that money going. So really, you all could hear, if you're hearing this, you can, like I would read The Joy of Compounding. I think I mentioned that before. And that y'all could all be using Tribevest, y'all could be baby Berkshire Hathaway.
No doubt. I mean, you think about
that's how I see it.
We're the Berkshire Hathaway for the rest of us. Maybe that's a stretch, but we're certainly the family offices for the rest of us.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
What family offices are just really wealthy families that have come together that pay a management company a lot of money to manage their family's wealth and put it to work.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that for you, but we are helping you pull your funds together so that you can get more access.
Yeah, I think that's good, because just the logistics of, all right, who's going to watch the money, which bank account, do we need an LLC? I mean, I think the logistics of that should be outsourced to a competent third party. How do you get the money back out if somebody wants to leave? I mean, there's other, things I think about where as if it's organized properly, now it's a real entity and you're running it as such.
Yeah, it's the reason why we're not focused on the investment itself, right? There's plenty of work for us to figure out because there's a lot of different moving parts and a lot of what ifs, and so we play an important role in making sure.
Yeah, because people shouldn't be looking for. See, that's one of the things that I talk about is that you are your best investor. See, there's no investment product that's going to take you to glory. I call it, right? What people who get rich, they get capital, they look for something that brings value to the marketplace, or they become expert at a thing. They make money, and then they get better and better and they make more money, and then they begin to save that money, buy other asset classes, and they build cash flow. That is how people build wealth. And so that means everybody in the group, y'all have to be reading, studying. I mean, it's not a passive thing, because you got to understand the stuff that you're putting your money into. And because I always tell our clients, it's your money. It's not Curtis's money. I'm not here to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you what to do. It's your money. And so, if you don't want to think, go to Vanguard, go to Fidelity, just give it to them, put it in your 401k and keep, it's what take the, what's that? The Matrix, take the red pill and you wake up in the real world, take the blue pill, you go back to sleep and life will keep going as it is. So if y'all need the blue pill, you can't call Travis or I. Because
no, that's just so important. It gets so missed. You are your best investor.
Yeah.
And, this is almost too basic, but I think it helps with that message and that story. Where's the best deal? It's not going to be the best deal that you find on, advertised or someone's calling you to tell you about it.
Right.
It's the deal around the corner, just to bring it back to real estate a little bit. If you live in the neighborhood and you drive by a certain block every day, like there's no one out there that knows that neighborhood and that deal better than you. And so if you're the one that finds it and considers everything you know about that, that's the best deal. That's the best deal in the world, right?
Yeah.
There's no better deal because you know it, you understand it.
You know the neighborhood, you know the people. I have one of my guests, Daniel Harvey. He'll do a talk, and people in for example, he's in Philly. They'll get upset by gentrification. He says, "Listen, you have been in these neighborhoods for 50 years. Okay, that corner store that was, you drive by it, but you don't see it, so you can't get mad when other people see the opportunity. But if you know what's going on, maybe you kind of pull your resources and you begin to buy the block, And so it sounds like what Tribevest does is kind of help you get that part organized. I still think you need coaches or somebody that maybe help you analyze the numbers, whatever, but that's really a good way but it formalizes everything, and everybody's got to come to the table with something. You may not have money, but you've got to be able to do some research or whatever, and you have to come with some money, because you can't, I always tell people, don't come to me, I can't steer a parked car. Right? So, what Jim Rohn says, wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune. So you got to work on your living by day. All right. And 4 livings, right? Because you need 5 jobs at the same time. You need, I guess that's it. What am I not asking you, Travis, that I should be asking you? Because I know you've got to get on with your day. I want to make sure I'm letting you share your story right, and I'm getting out of you what our listeners need to hear. I want you to call him. This is a great idea.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. No, we all have a barrier of entry, and that barrier of entry is, very clearly capital. And what technology has enabled us to do is to really leverage what we have. And you think about Uber, right? Like, the beautiful thing about Uber is you could start a business as long as you have a car, and most of us have a car. And with technology, I can now leverage that dormant asset and, start a business like in 10 minutes.
Right.
Like,
that is a business, right? So if it's 1099, you could do that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do airport runs. I'm going to do Instacart. I mean, you could squeeze out a couple, $1,000, $1,500, a couple $1,000 a week with some focus and some effort. I mean, you're going to bust your butt, but guess what? You got to bust your butt.
Tribevest falls in that kind of category. Never before has it been easy to leverage an asset that we've had. And in this case, we're helping you leverage your tribe. And so Tribevest says, hey, if you have people that like, and trust, you're all in a good position financially, and you all see the world in a similar way, why not leverage that tribe and pull your capital together so that you can do things you wouldn't on your own or couldn't on your own? And that's, that's it. You can start a business in 15 minutes with Uber.
Right.
if you have an extra bedroom, there's another business that you have with Airbnb, and, it might take you a couple of days, but you can assemble your tribe, qualify it, align, and start pulling capital together in a couple of days. And there's your third business. So you can see how it really starts to.
Yeah. I like, we should, I'm creating a membership site. And so what I want to do is I want to do some other interviews where we go deeper, because as you're saying this, I'm thinking, all right, people could, like they could start to pull them. I want them saving money, and then I want them to use the money they save to begin to do stuff like this. But I want them, they should get together and they should study deals. They should be reading, stuff. They learn how to read the numbers. They could use your capital to take classes. They should be playing cash flow once a month. Like I could see, I've got families that want to do this kind of stuff, and they always ask me, and I'll do these. And so if you're hearing this, like I've done this, locally, I've done it virtually, where people get their family together, and they will, we'll put me on the screen, and we'll talk about basic money stuff. But I think this is brilliant in terms of, okay, if you're really that close, here's a platform that will make it like a real thing. And then y'all can, look for opportunities to do with this money that you're saving. I think it's absolutely awesome. So my mind is racing. I'm like, right. Who I'm thinking about clients I know that need to hear about this as we're talking to me. And
no, in all seriousness, we would, love to offer any of your audience a free concierge service. So the platform is free right up to the time where you form a business bank account. And then it's $15 per month per investor group partnership.
Wow.
We help you form that LLC in all 50 states. We help you open up an FDIC insured business bank account. We help each member, if they decide to do this, do a monthly contribution of capital into the business. So anyway, we would love to offer anybody that's listening here free concierge service where they can call and talk to one of our tribe.
So tell them, Travis, how to what are the best ways to reach out to you? Also going to put in the show notes, but tell them how the best way to reach out to you.
Tribevest.com and sign up there. And then also you can find us at Tribevest on Facebook and Tribevest on Twitter.
Any closing thoughts, Travis, as we wrap up?
People ask me all the time, what's the most important thing when it comes to a successful investor group? Without doubt, without hesitation, it's the start. It's the start. It's coming together and starting to pull capital. And once you have capital, the whole game changes. You start to see things you never seen before. You start getting conversations you never had. And so that's my advice. Take that step.
That's awesome. So listen, I have nothing to add. I think get started. I think that Tribevest has put together a brilliant, basically darn near free, or at least to get started, $15 is free, as far as I'm concerned. So that's nothing. So you should begin to explore. Maybe you reach out to them and we could probably work together in terms of just making sure, because now in my mind I'm thinking through this process of where you should start it and how to start it, and because there's people that we interview on the show where you need some capital for, and this might be a way to do that. I mean, I see this overlapping with a bunch of stuff, so this is awesome, Travis. So all right, so let's wind this down. So listen, guys, we're going to put Travis's info and for Tribevest in the show notes. Make sure that if this is intriguing to you, email him and tell him what a great interview he did. Share this with your tribe and let them listen to this. And y'all, you call up and get a consult, and let's get you on the other side of money. So thanks for listening to the Practical Wealth Show. You guys go out there and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth. Written permission must be granted before